Hi there friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Tech. My name is Alan. So the Bad Batch animated series will be coming out in May, which is great news because honestly the whole time I was watching the final season of the Clone Wars, I was thinking to myself just how amazing the animation looked and how much of a waste it would be to just end this Clone Wars series without using it more. There was even a part of me that wanted Disney to go back and redo the entire Clone Wars with this newer, fancier animation because it just looks so great. But I guess now this is what the Bad Batch is going to be. I'm also really excited about this series because it'll be taking place during an extremely important time period of the galaxy that isn't really covered all that much in depth, and that is the transitional period between the fall of the Republic and the rise of the New Order. More importantly, instead of just focusing on all those pesky Jedi and their hokey religion, we'll be seeing things from the viewpoint of the valiant clone soldiers. Well, the highly mutated clone soldiers known as the Bad Batch. Today I'll be discussing what I think is going to be happening in the series and more importantly why the Bad Batch will most likely no longer be able to exist within the Republic/Imperial military structure. We'll be taking a look at why Clone Force 99 aka the Bad Batch is so unique and why they'll have no choice but to leave and become freelancers. When you ask a regular clone trooper for what and for who they're fighting for, the answer is usually pretty clear. The cause they fight for is the Republic, and the people who they fight for are their fellow brothers. With the Bad Batch, their motivations aren't as clear, and that all starts out with how they were made. Like the rest of the clones, their base genetic material comes from Jango Fett, but Clone Force 99 has been so heavily mutated that they no longer look like the rest of the clones and have some very significant physical and mental changes, which is what made them so effective and dangerous on the battlefield. At the same time, these changes made the members of Bad Batch relatively unstable when compared to your normal clones. During the Battle of Naxos, we see this difference of style and personality become an issue when a team of normal clones have to work alongside Clone Force 99. Clone Commander Cody invites Clone Force 99 to help the 212th Attack Battalion with a particularly dangerous mission. While en route to their target, their gunship is shot down, and Commander Cody is severely injured and taken out of action. At this point, Captain Rex takes over because he is the ranking officer, but members of Clone Force 99 are unhappy with this because they only know Commander Cody and Captain Rex is an unknown quantity to them. Clone Force 99 obviously wants their own leader to take charge of the mission, Sergeant Hunter. Sergeant Hunter eventually diffuses the situation and gets his men under control for the sake of the mission and agrees to cede control to Captain Rex. It shows us that Clone Force 99 is extremely loyal to each other, just like a clone commando pod. But they are of course a lot less loyal to the Grand Army of the Republic and all of their rules and regulations, including the chain of command. The other thing that drives the members of Clone Force 99 is being the best at what they do. Every member of the team truly enjoys fighting in war and developing their own unique set of combat skills. The thing is, Captain Rex should have never had to fight for command of that mission because he clearly outranks Sergeant Hunter, but that is one of the larger issues with Clone Force 99. Unlike the rank and file clones, they just aren't great at following orders and following the chain of command. This happens for several different reasons, but first let's look at the genetic reason. From what we can tell, whenever Fett clones are modified for Special Forces duty, the Kaminoan cloners generally alter the Fett DNA less, not more. You see, the rank and file clones have always been considered more docile and easier to control because of all the modifications to their personality. Even though these are very fearless warriors, they also like independence and are willing to listen to a commander's orders, even if those orders are terrible or put them in potentially dangerous situations. On top of that, we have the constant conditioning that the average clone trooper will receive during their training. The Special Forces clones, however, are a lot more similar to their donor, Jango Fett. This was an individual who was a ruthless killer, hunter, and mercenary. His sole drive in life was money, and he was only really loyal to himself. This made him an extremely dangerous and deadly individual and not necessarily a great team player. And so when the Grand Army of the Republic designed the clone commandos, for instance, these individuals had heightened aggressiveness, more independence, and they took more initiative on the battlefield without any commands from their officers. The Clone Commandos actually have many similarities with Clone Force 99. They also work in teams of 4, with each member specializing in different skills. They're also usually deployed deep behind enemy lines, and they are equipped with similar armor and weapons. The Clone Commandos saw themselves as different from the rank-and-file clones and adopted Mandalorian culture, which gave them an identity that existed outside of the GAR. Many of the Clone Commandos would actually defect from the Empire during the rise of the New Order. Then you have the Null Arcs. These were the first prototype clone troopers, and they were even more crazy and unhinged. They preferred being deployed in one-man teams because they didn't work well with others, just like Jango Fett. These operators were oftentimes given an extremely long leash by their commanders. They would just kind of disappear for like months at a time without reporting in. No one really knew what they were doing most of the time. And that was because they could deliver in a way that no other clone trooper could on the battlefield or in more covert missions. Null Arcs usually had genius-level intellect along with the physical and athletic abilities of an elite athlete. They were so competent at completing missions that they were oftentimes substituted in for missions reserved only for a Jedi. The Null Arcs were closer to the original Jango Fett from a genetic standpoint than any other clone trooper in the GAR. And it's for that reason why they inherited all of those important mercenary traits that made Jango Fett so deadly. Now, seeing how Clone Force 99 behaves and how they operate in combat shows that these mutated clones also have a lot of the original Fett personality intact. When Clone Force 99's gunship is shot down during the Battle of Anaxes, they quickly regroup, analyze the situation, and adopt extremely aggressive tactics to destroy the enemy, who is completely outnumbering them at the time. These are also extremely hot-headed individuals who won't hesitate to fight their own fellow clones if they step out of line. As we all know, Jango Fett was also an individual who was always quick to draw his blaster. The second reason why Clone Force 99 has problems with authority and the chain of command is because of their battlefield experiences. As Special Force Commandos, Clone Force 99 is constantly operating alone behind enemy lines, independent from the rest of the GAR. While the Bad Batch might occasionally receive orders from High Command or be briefed on a mission by High Command, in the field, it's usually an NCO like Sergeant Hunter who is in charge of the mission. Clone Force 99 is familiar and respects someone like Commander Cody, but most likely because they have worked alongside the commander several times and have developed a mutual trust of him after seeing him in combat. Trust is hard to come by for a unit like the Bad Batch, and that's because the missions they are usually sent on are extremely difficult. There can't be any deadweight or incompetent clone troopers in the type of environments that Clone Force 99 usually operates in. A weak trooper can put an entire unit at risk and cause a mission to fail and even cause the death of the entire unit. This is why the Bad Batch actually calls regular clone troopers Regs with disdain. And even though we know that Captain Rex is one of the most badass clanker-killing ARC troopers alive, Clone Force 99 has probably seen their fair share of ARC troopers who haven't lived up to the hype. As Special Force operators, they also have an ego issue. They understand that the type of missions they go under usually have huge ramifications at the strategic level for the entire Grand Army of the Republic. The success of their missions can change the entire course of the war. So Clone Force 99 has a very clear understanding of their own self-worth and how valuable they are to their commanding officers. And this is probably why they're given a lot of leeway to do what they want, and in return, they're not used to having officers look over their back, especially when they're in the field. This combined with the fact that they don't report to anyone on the regular and are just given complete autonomy most of the time makes for a very volatile mixture. So, from what we can tell from the recent Bad Batch trailer, Wilhuff Tarkin will play a big role in the show, most likely as an antagonist. Tarkin is a ruthless man who was born into a ruthless family who lived on a very ruthless world known as Yaradu. Wilhuff Tarkin fought extremely hard for his position within the Republic and became a close ally to Chancellor Palpatine. With the rise of the New Order and the complete disbandment of the clone army, more non-clone officers were needed to run the massive Imperial military. Tarkin was ranked as an admiral in the Imperial Navy and was also given the rank of Moff of the Great Siswana sector in the Outer Rim. He was also involved with advanced weapons research programs like the Death Star. Tarkin seems to greatly disapprove of the clones' behavior and how they operate. Individuals like Tarkin are obsessed with control because his upbringing showed him the worst sides of nature and the galaxy, and he definitely fears unrest. On his home planet of Radu, if one does not tame nature, then nature will probably kill that individual. Tarkin despises and fears things that he basically can't control, and Clone Force 99 will just be another wild animal for him to put down. The Bad Batch has had a good run in the Republic military, but now with the transition to the Empire, I'm afraid they're going to have to leave. It also should be noted that the Bad Batch will come into contact with Saw Gerrera, former Onderonian freedom fighter and future partisan and rebel extremist. The Bad Batch's special set of skills will be perfect for Saw's partisans. It'll be interesting to see how Saw's ideology will interact with the Bad Batch's own motivations. Will Clone Force 99 want revenge against the Empire for kicking them out, or are they just satisfied with survival and the constant thrill of battle? So there you have it, guys. I'm really excited to see what will happen to Bad Batch in the future. Will they just be kicked out of the Empire and become freelancers, or will they actually join the early, versions of the rebellion and try to fight against the Empire's tyranny? Well, let me know in the comment section below what you think. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button down below so you don't miss out on the rest of our awesome content. As usual, thanks for joining us today. If you're watching this, you are Generation Tech.